I'm starting this video way zoomed out so that you guys can see that I am indeed wearing a shirt. Now I'm gonna zoom you in. Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm very excited for today's video. It is going to be another Shop My Stash video. If you are unfamiliar with what Shop My Stash means, it means just that. We are going to be shopping through my stash, my makeup collection, and picking products to focus on for the next month or so. As always with my Shop My Stash videos, I'm going to start the video out by sharing with you all of the makeup and palettes that I purchased this time last year, because I will also be pulling those products out to have as focus products so that I can refamiliarize myself with them, decide whether or not I still like them, if I want them in my collection, etc. Because I will do a follow-up video and do a worth the purchase towards the end of this month, kind of sharing with you if I think everything that I bought this time last year was worth it or not. Then we will go through everything that I was focused on last month, everything that I had pulled out last month, share my thoughts with you on that, put many of the products away, and then we will end by shopping my stash for some new focus products for the month of July. So if you're interested, stay tuned. First, if you have yet to subscribe to my channel and you like project planning content, palette themed content, or just chit-chatting about makeup, that is what we do over on this channel, so I hope you'll consider subscribing before moving on. Also, don't forget to like this video and leave a comment down below, or do anything else the YouTube algorithm loves for you to do. I would really appreciate it. And without further ado, let's jump into the video. Okay, we are going to start with the products that I brought into my collection this time last year, and thankfully there's actually not a ton this time around. So I have two eyeshadow palettes that came into my collection this time last year. Both are from Cosmic Beauty. I have the Neutrals and the Cool Trolls, and I will be honest, I don't think I will reach for the Cool Trolls. I don't think I'm going to use this as a focus, just because this is something that screams much more winter time to me and something that I will get more excited about in the winter time. But I will pull out my neutrals and try and get some use on this. This definitely is something that I feel like reads a lot more summertime vibes to me. I absolutely love this eyeshadow palette, so I'm excited to pull this out. I want to do something with this beautiful gold. I think that could be really fun. So this will be coming out. And then I only brought 4 makeup products into my collection. I say only 4. That feels like a huge win for me, especially considering my purchases lately. But the 4 products that I purchased in July of last year, I have the Fenty Beauty lip liner, the traced out lip liner, and I got mine in the shade Peanut Butter, which I feel like will be a really, really beautiful warm nude shade for the summertime. I feel like this would be a really good time to pull this out. It's been a little bit since I've reached for this. This is creamier than I typically am reaching for, but I do remember really enjoying this lip liner, so I'm excited to pull this back out and see if I still like it like I did. I'm also very excited to pull out my Buxom gloss. This is in the shade Pumpkin Spice White Russian. Yes, I bought a pumpkin spice lip gloss in the month of July. This does have a heavy pumpkin spice scent to it, and it is a really, really, really beautiful nude shade. I really love this, so I'm very excited to pull this out and have an excuse to get some more use on that. This I'm excited to pull out because this is something that I just should not have purchased, especially considering like how many eyeshadow palettes I was bringing in last year. This is from Half Magic. It is in the shade Blushing Lizard, and it is like a really beautiful pinky blue sort of shade. It's a shade, it's like one of the shades that I really do kind of love. I don't know if you're going to be able to really get the full effect there. It does just look like a really beautiful wet sort of shadow. I actually feel like if I pop this in my everyday, or my overnight makeup bag, I could get a ton of use out of this, because this is a really beautiful, just sparkly shadow that I feel like could work really well as just a one and done sort of shade. So I'm excited to give myself an excuse to reach for this and see if I reach for it and see what I think about this, because I don't feel like I use this. I shouldn't have purchased this. And then the final product that I bought was the NARS blush in the shade Behave. I will say this is definitely more like light and nude than maybe I would typically be reaching for, but sometimes in the summer, actually most times in the summer, I do like a really bronzy sort of look to the skin with a more like nude blush that kind of just feels almost like an extension of the bronzer. So I'm excited to pull this out. I do love NARS face palettes, and I really enjoyed this blush when I bought it last year. Excited to have another excuse to reach for this. And those are the products that I purchased last July, so I will be focused on those, as I said, this month. But let's get into all of the products that I was focused on in June. Okay, I always like to start out on my desk, ignore this mess here. but I have I have face palettes, and then I have just some random things here, but I have products that are new to my collection that I'm still testing. Plus I have, just because it was easy to store this way, I have like my Charlotte Tilbury cream bronzer, my Dior bronzer. Over there, for the most part, is where I like to keep Project Pan products. Right now, I've been kind of filming my makeup inventory, so things are a little bit all over the place. I do have all of my like favorite lip glosses and stuff sitting right on top of there. We can quickly go through face palettes just because we're right at the face palette section. So up first, I have the Lunar Beauty Moon Prism Blush Palette. I did reach for this a couple of times, definitely not quite as many as I would have hoped. So actually, maybe I should keep this pulled. Actually, I think I'm gonna put this away for the rest of the month of July, but I will pull this out for August just because Soleil will be a really pretty color for August. And then I feel like these will be really good transition shades for blush from August into September. So I will put this away for right now. I am gonna keep my Natasha Denona Glam face palette pulled simply because I have not reached for this at all. And this realistically should be something I should be reaching for a ton. I feel like these shades for just everyday work appropriate looks would be so great. So I'm gonna keep this pulled, and I need to use this by next month. Then I have my NARS All That Glitters face palette. I believe I reached for this once. Not really much at all. So I actually should keep this pulled for one more month. I'm gonna keep this pulled for another month, try and get some use out of it. I feel like this quad of shades could be really beautiful for this time of year, so I will keep this pulled. I could put my NARS Overlust back because I've reached for this a ton, but I'm gonna keep this pulled simply because I have been loving reaching for this center shade as an all over like body bronzer. I've been using it a lot on my chest and neck, and I honestly feel like with a little bit of effort I could have the majority of this shadow or this pan used up by the end of summer, and that would be so exciting to me. So I am gonna just keep this pulled, and then I will put back my NARS Hot Escape cheek palette too. I've reached for this one quite a bit, and I really have kept the majority of my other face palettes pulled, and so I want to pull a couple other face palettes into the mix, so I'm ready to put this one back. Can you tell I've had too much caffeine and not enough breakfast this morning? I'm so shaky. Okay, moving into my drawers. I definitely did have some foundations pulled, but in the mix of all of my like filming makeup inventories, I have really nothing in this drawer except for my makeup tools, a couple of just random things, and then I do have my What's Up Beauty Positivity Lightweight Hydrating Face Primer. I actually did reach for this a decent amount. This is something a part of me does kind of want to keep pulled just because this, of all of my hydrating primers, does offer a bit of a tack to it. And I definitely will have the room. I'm gonna keep this one pulled. I'm gonna keep that pulled. I have had some other foundations that I was using this past month, but I also have so many newer foundations that I've been testing and trying. So we'll just pull new foundations when we get there. All right, and then we have this drawer. So I'm gonna start with my Victoria Beckham bronzer. I reached for this today. I've reached for this a couple of times, and it's just too dark for me and too orange leaning on my skin. It is just not flattering. So I'm gonna put this back, and I ultimately will end up decluttering my Victoria Beckham bronzing brick, which makes me really sad. But honestly, I'd rather pass this along to someone who actually can get use out of it like all year round, whereas I was only reaching for this in the summer months, and still it just doesn't even look good or flattering on me in the summer. So that's going back, and that's getting decluttered. In this Tom Ford, this compact actually could go up in my panning products. This is my Give Beauty, the powder version of the Duo. I actually had the Give Beauty Duo pulled, which we'll just have to pull that back out. It must have gone away when I was filming my inventory. Anyway, this is all I have left from the Give Beauty powder. This is another one that matches me better definitely in the summertime. So I'm actually just gonna put this up with my products that I'm panning because I did recently pull this into my rolling Project 10 pan. Unfortunately, I was horrible and did not reach for my Kaja Trio at all, so I'm gonna keep this pulled. This is such a great, useful product. I need to use this. Okay, moving on to blush, I had I'd pulled all of my Lawless cream blushes, and I think I will ultimately end up decluttering a couple of the shades. I'm definitely keeping, I'm keeping Gumdrop just because this is a unique cream blush to my collection. And I will end up keeping Starburst, which is the warmer blush shade. I did reach for all of them. I will end up keeping Starburst because I do love this blush. But ultimately, I just don't feel like I need to keep this one, which is in the shade Angel. It's just not going to be a most reached for blush shade for me. It is a matte formula, and I just have other, I don't know, I just don't care to keep it. I don't need all the blushes. And then same thing with Rosebud. I just don't need to keep this cream blush. So you'll see those in an upcoming declutter. I also think I'm going to declutter my Kaja Dewy Bar in the shade Peach Cobbler. Okay, these end up, like, if they get any sunlight at all, they just melt. So it's just not a good situation. So you'll see these in a declutter. Okay, then moving on to my blush. I don't know that I reached for MAC Warm Soul at all. I was reaching for my face palettes quite a bit. I will say that. So I'm going to keep Warm Soul pulled. I want to keep Cheer pulled, even though Cheer from Rare Beauty is something that I actually did reach for a decent amount. This is just something that is going to work best for me in the summer. So I want to take advantage of getting all the use out of this as I possibly can. Okay, I recluttered this into my collection, and I'm honestly so glad that I did because I've really been enjoying this. In the pan, this looks absolutely terrifying, but it is very sheer on the skin, and I love a glowy blush, so this has been working very well for me. It's the iconic London Kissed by the Sun. I, again, am going to keep this pulled just because it is going to be best for me this time. Actually, maybe this is another one I'll put away for July, but then I'll pull this back out in August because I feel like this is the perfect end of summer blush, and I did get some good use on that. All right, I did get some use on my Kosas Blush is Life in the shade Dreamland. Not a ton, but definitely some. This is something I'm sure I'll pull back out this year. It is a very flexible blush in that it really can match just about any look, any time of year. So I will pull this back out, but I'd like to cycle through a few other blushes. Then I have Georgia, which I've reached for quite a bit, but I love Georgia. And Georgia and Cheer together are just so freaking pretty. But I feel like I should put Georgia away because I've pulled this several times and reached for this so much. So I actually will keep, or I will put that back. Over here are blushes that I really didn't get to reach for. So here's NARS Behave, which I have pulled as a focus product this month. I still have not reached for my Melt Golden Hour blush, which is just such a shame. I need to get use out of this. Need to. So that's staying. I will also keep my Charlotte Tilbury Cheek to Chic blush in Pillow Talk Intense. This is another one I feel like will be perfect for kind of the end of summer, but I also feel like it could give that perfect sunburnt blush sort of vibe. I need to reach for that. And then I have the Fenty Beauty cream blushes in Petal Poppin', as well as Strawberry Drip, which I didn't reach for either of these. So those will also stay. Back here, I have one more blush that I didn't reach for, shockingly. This is a favorite blush of mine. It's the Buxom Seychelles blush. I do still really love this. It is one of my favorite nude blushes, and it does still perform well on the cheeks. I'd used this a couple of months ago, and it still was performing just fine. Did I reach for it all this month? No, but I would like to keep this pulled. This should go back. This is my Pixie Glowy Gossamer Duo, and I've reached for this so much. So much. And in fact, dun da da da, I do have a new pan on this. So now both of these have pan. A part of me doesn't want to put it back because I've really enjoyed this as a shoulder highlight. Like really. Should I put this just in my project pan area to get more use out of? Just to like expand that pan? I'm going to put this up with my project pan stuff because I've been using this so much as a shoulder highlight. But I have cycled through other things on my face. Okay. My Kosas, this is another blush product, blush duo in the shade Papaya. I absolutely love this. And it's so perfect for the summer. I'm keeping this pulled. I reached for this a lot, but I want to keep that pulled. We've got a lot of blush already pulled. Yikes. Okay, the Milk Makeup Lit Highlight I did reach for. Actually, maybe I should just officially put the Pixie away and then have this for my shoulder highlight so that I can try and hit a pan in this as well. Maybe we'll do that. Okay, we're putting the Pixie away. And then I will try and hit a pan on this by using it as a shoulder highlight. I did use this, I think, at least 3 or 4 times on my face. It is a very intense highlight, but I do really enjoy this one. And then I also have the Ofra Milk and Cookies highlight in collaboration with Steph Toms. I reached for this several times as well, but I also kind of want to keep this pulled. This is another one, if I'm going to reach for this one, it's going to be in the summertime, so I kind of just want to keep it pulled for that reason. And then ABHM Breezy, I only reach for once. I am doing that thing where I am not allowing myself to reach for this because it's just such a special product in my opinion. Unacceptable. Keeping this pulled. Need to get more use out of it. And I'm also going to keep my Artist Couture Summer Haze pulled just because this is another one of those seasonal highlights that I'm really only going to reach for in the summer. So I would like to reach for it in the summer. We do still have room. Don't worry, you guys. We still have room. Okay, this always is in here. It's my Hourglass Finishing Powder Trio. That's always here. Same with my Kosas. And the Makeup by Mario, I have the shade 3 Fair Neutral Peach, which I'm going to keep pulled just because this is a really good shade for me for the summer. I actually did end up buying shade 2 as well, so we have that. And then I have my Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Beauty Light Wand, which I really have not reached for yet. So I should keep that pulled as well. Feels like we didn't put a ton back, but clearly I have some seasonal summer products I really like reaching for in the summer, so I'm not going to be too harsh on myself. Regardless, we do have some room to fill these drawers up, so let's go shop the stash. Okay, we are going to start up here with my foundations. I know right off the bat I'm going to pull my Clinique Even Better. This is definitely something that matches me best in the summer. It's one of my oldest, if not my oldest, foundation in my collection, and it actually is a really beautiful product on the skin. It gives a good amount of coverage. I just never think to reach for this one, so I'm going to pull that. I'm also going to pull my Lawless Forget the Filler. This is something that's new to my collection this year, and definitely something that is deeper, so really only going to work for me in the summer, and even in the summer I feel like it's going to be a little bit too deep, so I'll definitely have to mix it with something a little bit lighter. And then I'm going to pull these two, which you will see in an upcoming chopping block video. I filmed the chopping block video today, but I don't think it's going to go up for another 7 or 8 days, but I'm going to pull my Lancome Tint Idole Ultra Wear Foundation. So spoiler, that's in my chopping block. And then I'm also going to be pulling my Bare Minerals Complexion Rescue. This is something I like, but I definitely prefer my Supergoop Protect Tint or my Milk Hydra Grip. So I want to get some use out of this and decide whether or not I want to keep this or pass this along. So those are the foundations I'm going to grab. Moving into the first drawer, which is my powders and primers. I'm not going to grab any other powders. I feel like I'm good for powder, but I will grab my Glossier. This actually got put back after filming my makeup inventory series, which will be coming in the next couple days. This is actually something I'm panning, so this should be with my panning stash. But I'm going to grab the e.l.f. Power Grip. This is something I recently purchased when I finished my e.l.f. Dewy Pop. I love this for the summer. It really does help prolong my makeup. It has a good grip to it, so this is definitely something I want to grab for. And it's been a little bit since I've reached for my Tula filter primer, which honestly works so well for me in the summertime as well, especially when I'm not doing, and many days I haven't been doing foundation, and this is so good for those days because this is almost like a tinted SPF. Not that it has SPF in it, but it's kind of like one of those tinted products that really does have a filter to the skin without being too much. So I'm gonna grab that and we'll call it good for this drawer. Moving on to concealers and bronzer. I'm definitely, oh wait, maybe it's already sitting out. It's definitely already sitting out. Okay, I'm definitely gonna grab my Gucci number 3. This is something that is going to work best for me in the summertime, so if I don't take the opportunity to get use out of this in the summer, I have missed my opportunity to use this year, so I will definitely grab for that. I think my NARS should also be in my panning stash, so I'm gonna set that aside. Let's see, what other bronzers, if any, do I want to grab for? Oh, I should grab my Rare Beauty. This also might be something I'm panning or just unofficially trying to pan. I'm gonna pull my Give Beauty Duo back out. Like I said, I had repressed this powder shade, but I would like to get use out of the like contour cream shade, so I'm gonna grab that. then maybe we'll call it good for this drawer. I will also grab my NYX Bear With Me concealer serum. I really like this. This is my oldest concealer in my collection at this point, and I feel like with a little bit of effort I definitely could finish this up this year. This is something I would personally purchase again, but fortunately it is a drugstore makeup product. So I'm gonna pull that and we will call it good for this drawer. Moving into blush. I hope that you guys can see. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know what's happening. Okay. What do I want to do for blush? I do want to grab these two. I'm going to grab my Stay Dewy blush in, whoops, I think that's the shade Rosy. And then I'm going to grab my Bite Beauty Daycation. I need to focus on this so I can finish this year. And then I'm going to pull Laura Mercier Fresco. I absolutely love this for a beautiful nude blush. So I'll grab that. I'll also grab both my Bare Minerals bronzer in Kiss of Copper and Kiss of Pink. In my opinion, summer is the perfect time to be reaching for both of these. So I'll grab both of those. And let's see. I think I should also grab for Patrick Ta, She's So LA. This is something I also could pull in August or perhaps just roll over to August. I do love a nudie blush, a nudie bronzery blush, so I feel like that will be good. I do have a lot of blush already pulled. I need to remember that. And then I will also grab this one, which is in She's the Moment. This is another one that I feel like works really well for the summer, but if I don't reach for this in the summer, I will have missed my opportunity. So I'll grab that and then we'll call it good for blush. Okay, moving on to highlight. I just filled my drawers and I have so much blush pulled, it's not even funny. Way too much blush pulled, but that's okay. Okay, highlighter. I am gonna grab, I feel like I already do have a lot of my summer highlights pulled as well. Maybe I'll pull Vesca just to get a little bit more use out of Vesca. I like reaching for Vesca honestly any time of year, but I do reach for pink tone highlights more in the winter time, so perhaps I'll pull this to get some use out of that. I always enjoy reaching for this. And I actually think maybe I will call it good for a highlight. I should pull my Flower Beauty Day Glow highlighter, but I do have other things. This will really match me kind of any time of year, but also when I'm fair complected, whereas some of my other highlights won't match me as well when I'm fair complected. So I'm gonna hold off on that, and I actually think we're gonna call it good for, actually, I do also want to pull my Natasha Denona IIY Gen highlight. Although this might be, actually that might be a little bit too light for right now. Actually, I'm gonna hold off on that. Okay, we're calling it good for highlight. Face palettes. I'm so excited about face palettes. I actually think my Evil Eye face palette may have been pulled because I was reaching for this quite a bit. But when I filmed my inventory, I think maybe I'd put this back. I am gonna put this back for July, but I will likely pull this back out in August. I think this blush could be so beautiful for August. Okay, so I'm gonna leave this like stored there for now. I've really been itching to reach for my Hourglass Ghost Quad. I absolutely love this quad. I love all 4 shades in here. I feel like this shade could be so beautiful for July. Honestly, any of them, but I am excited to pull my Ghost Quad out. And then, do I want to grab for anything else? Exposed? Maybe I'll grab for Exposed. I'd like to get some use out of this Coral Blush shade before the end of the year. There's some bronzery tones I could get some use out of. So, and honestly, these berries in the summer, like a berry sunburn, cute. So I'm gonna pull that. All right, then we get to my lip products, and I honestly just reach for lip products kind of as I go and just kind of what as works for me as we go along. So actually, that's really it for my Shop My Stash. Okay, my desk is looking a little bit messy right now, but everything is kind of put back in its drawers. I did not do a good job this month of keeping track of what lip products I was reaching for. You can always check my description box for lip products that I'm wearing in videos, but I will try and be better next month of actually setting aside the lip products that I'm using so that I can share those in next month's recap. But that is going to wrap it up for today's Shop My Stash video. I would love to know what you are pulling out or what products you have pulled out for your Shop My Stash rotations. Thank you guys so much for sticking around to watch today's video and for supporting me and my channel as you guys always do. I love you guys so much, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye!